Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this year's Russian Literature Society. This is the 5th annual time that we have met with this particular group, believe it or not. The 7th time that some iteration of this Kingsport Drama Society has met to do Russian literature, and the 9th, I think this is the 9th one on the playlist. So, well done, everyone. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to this, as I always do. These games have meant a tremendous amount to me. I am very fortunate that I get to spend my January with all of you. You're all terrific role players, and I really enjoy everything we do here. So this year we're going to do some Pushkin. And before I even get into that, though, it is incumbent during this period of war. So the great flowering of literature that happened in Russia between 1810 and 1910, roughly, was unexpected and changed world literature and created some of the most shattering masterpieces of the literary arts. That is the common inheritance of all mankind. While culturally, Russian literature is extremely deeply Russian. At the same time, Russian literature has inspired and enhanced the lives of millions of people. I am a tremendous fan of Russian literature. I love almost everything I've ever read from Russian literature, though I have to read in translation. So all that is to say that while we are going to have a lot of fun playing 19th century Russians tonight, that is not an endorsement of the current policies of the Russian regime, and it is my opinion, at least, to support the people of Ukraine in their struggle for independence and self-determination. So with that all said, we're going to go back and do some Russian stuff. I should point out that at least several of the great Russian writers were Ukrainian as well, or had connections. Gogol was a Ukrainian, or mostly Ukrainian. He was a Russian-speaking person from that area. Chekhov, of course, spent a lot of time in Crimea. So, all this stuff happens. All right, that's it. So Pushkin. Aleksandr Pushkin is the greatest poet in Russian literature by acclamation. He pretty much literally invented the literary language of Russian. His influences, it's impossible to overstate how important his literature is to modern literary Russian and to the Russian of everyday people. He's kind of like, what if Shakespeare had lived in the 1820s and, died in a duel? Because, Pushkin died in a duel in 1837, which is the year that we're going to set our game. So even though the influence of this is the great poetic novel Yevgeny Onegin, and maybe some of the prose like The Queen of Hearts, both of which are fine operas by Tchaikovsky, by the way, we're going to just sort of mix some stuff together and create some kind of transitional Russian literature game. Maybe we'll have a duel, probably going to have some midwinter divination. There's going to be some good stuff in this. So I am pleased as punch, as always, to introduce everybody in this cast. And so I will start with someone that I have not seen enough of in the last year, and I apologize for that. But she has always been my great co-collaborator in this and many, many other games that I've played, and is just a wonderful player and someone I'm always very happy to have at my table. So please, let's welcome Serafina, who is playing, let's pull this up here, Count Ilya Ilyich Rostov.
Hello. So yes, I'm Serafina. I am playing Count Ilya Ilyich Rostov, Ilyusha. And he's a he, him person. I'm a she, him person. So, we've got like half in common. And he is, well, he's a poet, the poor thing. And he has been heavily influenced by the writings of the French poet Baudelaire, although he's much more sincere than Baudelaire, and very much sees the world in a very rose-colored glasses kind of way, although he's not necessarily an idealist. He's just constantly writing poetry about everything he sees and thinks of himself as like a flaneur. And Yeah, his mother is very despairing of him because he can't seem to settle down, but we're hoping that that will change. His intended is the lovely Countess Natalia Svatoslavovna Lenskaya. Um, and yeah, we'll see where this goes.
More sincere than Baudelaire? I mean, that's your first mistake.
I don't know. Baudelaire is pretty sarcastic, and he does write a lot about frivolous sex. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
Find out.
I guess you could argue that he's sincere. He's just callous.
So maintaining our great tradition of French Russians, apparently. So I want to move on next to someone that I have been fortunate enough to play with a lot more in the last year, and who I am always happy to share a table with, and is a great friend of mine, and has been a great support in a lot of the things that I've done, and I have hopefully played a small part in supporting the marvelous work that Richard has done. Moonlight and Rosal Beach is terrific, guys. It's really good. Go out and buy it. So let's please welcome Richard, who is playing Prince Stanislav Vladimirovich Kuznetsov.
Hi, I'm Richard. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Stas, whose pronouns are also he, him. And Stas is got a limited bio so far, but he is a nephew to Babette, who some of you may remember from Belligerence and Benevolence. He is a young nephew to Babette and really admires her. And has been teaching at her school for young ladies, where he teaches poetry. And in addition to teaching the French standards, he also teaches English and German poets in translation. At some point, he may begin teaching Russian literature in the school. And I'm sure that will scandalize no one. He is very good friends with Babette, and teaching. He is a hidden love affair with a Bohemian diplomat working for the Prussians. Bohemian in nationality, not in temperament or outlook or behavior.
Sure. Didn't we hire you to teach Russian literature? Wasn't that the original plan?
Oh, I thought you hired me to teach French poetry.
I can teach French poetry.
Yes, but you have things to do. You do have to run the place.
Just like my mother's side of the family. So, well, speaking of a mother's side of the family, what we welcome next, someone who I am always happy to have at the table, the heart and beating dramatic and melodramatic soul of the Kingsport Drama Society. And I am so glad to have them back at the table. So please, let's welcome Daryl, who is playing the Princess Vasilisa Ivanovna Krasnogradskaya Volhova.
So, hi, I'm Daryl, and my pronouns are they, them, and I am playing Vasya. I promise that's not meant to give anyone PTSD flashbacks, but it may, because this is a completely different Vasya, not the one that we saw in Belligerence and Benevolence, but actually her namesake, who was named after her by my mother, Babette, and my mother, who is, such a kind and caring woman who runs this school, has provided me this pleasant, fulfilling, comfortable life, and I just absolutely can't stand it. As she runs her school and she reads her books and she presses me to do the same, and all I want to do is just dash wildly into the world and taste all of its flavors. And then, in direct contravention of that wish, she wants to yoke me to this man, Sergei Katavasov, whom dullness personified, truly. I cannot. He's a fine man, to be sure, but I just and he would make most any other woman happy, but I am not any other woman, and I crave a love that burns hotter than any gleam his eye could turn towards me, which is why I am desperately in love with the Count Ilya Ilyich Rostov, whom I think does not necessarily know I exist yet, but whom I will fix that. It's going to work out. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. So yes, that is Vasya, this Vasya, who is just, strong, talented, willful, and will definitely get everything that she wants. It's fine.
Oh dear God, this is payback. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I have nothing to say to that. I'm just going to let the person who probably will have lots to say about it respond. So please, let's welcome the dark lord of our games, the one who always finds the depths to plumb and makes them lovely and inviting. So please, let's welcome Leandro, who is playing the Countess Natalia Sviatoslavovna Linskaya.
Oh, hi. It's hard to live up to that. Hi, my name's Leandro. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing the aforementioned Countess Linskaya, who is a hedonist from an ill-reputed family who wishes to push their rival to match her ambition and achievements. I wrote down that Natalia believes herself to be doomed from birth because both her mom and her dad came from ill-reputed families, so she thinks she's extra ill-reputed. So if her family's cursed to be seen as dissolute, why not just give oneself to kind of like pure disillusion? It also helps that she has an older sister who got married well, married to nobility. So like, all right, cool. All right, I that gives me cover to like, be immoral, I guess. And this has worked out well. She's been good at navigating scandals so far, hence because part of my desire involves I'm rising up in the ranks. It got me in a match, even. Sure, it's to like this romantic bohemian what sorts, but be nice to have him around. It's kind of like having a dog that can do poetry on occasions. Great. But but what Natasha really cares about is her rival Stas, who used to be so much more interesting, but now he's all teaching literature, books. Come on, used to be so much more exciting. I don't think she knows about Stas's like love affair, so that'll be great to find out. But we only have that much time. You can't afford to be boring. Come on, Stas. Let me pull you back up. So if Natasha follows the usual route of what I do in Russian society, she's gonna bimble about for the first 3 or 4 sessions, and in the last one, we'll just throw grenades everywhere, and we'll see if we all survive.
I mean, that's what I signed up for. So, and that leaves it to me. I'm Kat, she, her, and this was my idea a long time ago, and I managed to randomly get this incredible cast together, and they continued to come back for more. So thank you all. So I'm playing the Princess Yelizaveta Nikolaevna Volkhova. She is my character from the first run of these. And with Babette, the question is, what does it look like? What does life look like after your happy ending? When last we saw her, she was getting married to a charming French POW. And now she is still a noblewoman and runs an academy for young ladies. And maybe they don't have that much money, but they only aspired to be a bourgeois household anyway. And she's content and happy, sort of, but she has wild daughters and a son that she doesn't see, and her husband's on some far corner of the empire, and she hasn't stopped being nervous and academic and bookish and worrying that she's not living up to the ideals that she has set for herself, and worried even more that she's setting impossible ideals for other people, which she said she wasn't going to do, having seen how that played out the last time. So we'll find out. Let's see where we all are. But we're going to set our scene, at least to start, near the Christmas holidays. which, coincidentally, in the Russian Orthodox Church, we're actually near the Christmas holidays right now. And I think for our open, believe it or not, by rule, your first scene in Good Society is supposed to be what do they call an event chapter. However, we have thrown that rule book out a long time ago. But what do people want to do? I could definitely see a little impromptu ball being like where this chapter heads to. A country ball with Babette and her gaggle of young ladies from her French academy, and her daughter, and the various other aristocrats of this country. How does that sound to folk? So I think the opening credit scene would be a couple of sleighs being pulled by troikas, and as the camera comes in, the one that's in the lead and is being whipped into the fastest that can go is Babette's sleigh, and she's got a long scarf dangling out behind her. And as usual, she took her glasses off to drive, which is making, I'm sure, her daughter and the other girls in the sleigh extremely happy with her. And we pull up to this small but solid estate in the vast countryside, the steppes stretching away covered with snow all around, and the girls all file out, and the landlady Lydia Vladimirovna comes out, and all the girls curtsy and say a greeting in French, which she doesn't speak, but it's all right anyway. And Babette just hustles them all in. And maybe we can start like right before the guests arrive, and maybe with a conversation between mother and daughter.
So I think that Vasya is probably has come down and is presented herself in front of you in her gown, but has made some sort of modification to it to be slightly more daring, slightly more inappropriate. Probably sets a little bit of a bad example for the girls, and she's hoping that you won't notice it.
Sunya, what are you doing? We spent more rubles than we can afford on that dress, and you've already ruined the neckline.
It's not ruined. It's enhanced. Mother, all of the girls in Moscow are wearing their collars like this now. I must make sure that I keep up with the times.
Well, we're not in Moscow. I hope you've noticed. Did you write Sergei before we left?
Yes, I responded to his letter. And she looks guiltily off to the side.
Well, I got a letter from his mother, and his godmother. She's some countrified Moscow noblewoman of the old school. Impossible to deal with these people. But she just wanted to know how you were. Sunya, why? I know the courtships are hard. I'm sorry, I don't have much advice. I did not have a particularly normal courtship.
Mother, I do not fault you for the process of putting courtship before me. I fault you because you have put someone before me who treats courtship like a business transaction.
I thought you liked Sergei. You spent so much time with him last summer.
I was being held hostage, Mother. We were at the estate. There wasn't much where else to go. He just talked at me about civil service and finances and taxes, on and on and on. And I asked him if he read poetry, and he couldn't name one poem that hadn't been written at least 20 to 30 years ago.
Well, but you don't read poetry that often.
What are you, Mother? I tried to share with you an exceptional new young poet and some work that I had heard at one of the gatherings in the fall, and you said that it was rubbish. And I really disagree with that. And I disagree with the assertion that I don't read that much poetry. I've come to very much enjoy poetry.
I happen to see that the copy of Moliere I gave you last year for your name day has not the pages have not even been cut. And Molière is one of the greatest poets of all time, I'll have you know. She's, of course, speaking in French.
And of course, I steadfastly switch back to Russian just to spite you, and say, Mother, Molière is not writing in the halls of Russian society today. Just what does Molière have to say about what it means to be here and now?
Well, we can't all be Lermontov. Sonia, I'm sorry. She also almost never calls you Vasya. She uses other nicknames for you. I know it's hard. Courtships are hard. Not everybody can, meet the love of their life in the ruins of Burnt Hat City. I don't recommend that as a way to meet young gentlemen.
There are just other ways to meet young gentlemen, and I would appreciate it if I wasn't just immediately being thrown at someone like Sergei.
There's an attachment there. Things will be complicated if we change anything. So I ask you please to at least make no move yet, but enjoy yourself while we're in the countryside. I know it's not Moscow, and I know we haven't been to Petersburg in 3 years. Sonia, I'm sorry. Things have not always gone the way I wanted them to go. Maybe it would have been better if I had done what you asked and sent you to London with Svetlana. But
truly, I did want to go to London.
It's a filthy city, dear. It's full of bankers and pretentious poets. Bankers I've had enough to deal with.
Russia is full of bankers and pretentious poets.
Well, yes, but they're thicker on the ground in London. There's more temptation there.
Well, I only ask that you continue to hear me when I request a long engagement. Please do not rush into anything with Sergei until I can be absolutely sure that I can bear it.
Fine. Sign yourself up to be a blue stocking. I'm sure you'll find that it's a useful, light way to spend your time. The long winter evenings just fly by, my dear. And she just...
With that, she huffs.
Yeah, I huff in the opposite direction.
I'm just going to point out that Ilya is never on time.
I didn't say that we were... I didn't say they were arriving at the start of this thing, so...
Great, awesome. I don't know if anybody wants to arrive before I do, but he's definitely late.
I feel like Stas would already be on site, would he not?
Yeah.
I do believe I probably would have been there already, since I know not to drive the sleigh with Babette.
And you no longer allow yourself to be driven in Babette's sleigh, I take it.
No, no.
I think Natasha also makes a point of being late. I think it's kind of a game of chicken between her and Ilya to see who shows up later. But I think that Natasha is gonna lose this one for tonight.
So this is like the most countrified ball. Like they've got like a little trio of musicians playing 10-year-old waltzes with varying tempi and not always the same one, and lots of little country nobility. It's very country mouse, and I don't know if you're from this area, Natalia, but
trying to remember. I think probably not from this area.
So yeah, you're probably definitely feeling city mouse here.
Yeah, no, I walk in and I see that spread, and I think like I can't stop my nose from like just wrinkling at all, just like, and I think she will glom on the nearest, most familiar face, and probably find Stas then.
I think Stas is approaching my cousin Vasya with a glass of, it's probably not going to actually be champagne, but whatever is passing for champagne. something that has at some point been sparkling.
Yeah, I think if it's okay, I will intercept you before you get to your cousin. Just walking in, I'll just like arrive from out of view, and just go, Slava, I was not expecting to see you here. I thought you'd be busy holding down the fort, so to speak. It's nice to see you in an occasion like this. Is that for me? Well, thank you. And she'll take your champagne glass off your hand.
I am. Are we? Is the school in Moscow or in Petersburg?
Moscow, Babette's a Muscovite.
Well, I've not been in Moscow for a period of weeks. I have some papers to look over, and the students who are not home with their families are here for
Well,
the
let me tell
holiday.
you. Well, let me tell you, Slava, you've been sorely missed. I cannot keep just people come to me to ask for your whereabouts because they seem to think we have this great connection of some sort. I truly do not know where they get these ideas from, but you have been missed, and it wouldn't kill you to visit for even just a weekend or two. I know that's diminished from how much you used to spend time over there, but we can negotiate.
You know that getting in and out of the country in winter is not exactly an easy task. I down half my champagne.
Natalia will mirror that and down her half.
Who has been asking after my whereabouts? May I request?
Well, the Kolonsky twins have always been wondering where you've been. You've always they how do they say it? You always spoke the sweetest French, and between you and me, I think they're jealous that you're passing on your knowledge of French to any gaggle of students who'd have your services. They thought they had you for all to themselves, really. So there's that. I think like probably like a few names because like I'm trying to keep the time periods right. Who's out and about? There's dear darling Anna. You remember Anna? Yeah, Anna of the Anna of the big lips. Yes. You remember her? She's always she can't stop.
I'm sorry, Anna.
Yes, Anna. Yay tall, likes to show off how yay tall she is.
It's not ringing any bells. Anyone else?
Okay, well, there's. I think I got Natalia's reaching a bit. Dimitri, do you remember Dimitri?
Dimitri was asking.
Stas is great. Is
After me.
Of course he is. He wanted to follow up because I remember you apparently you recommended him several German works, and he has a lot of opinions apparently on your recommendations. I don't think most of them are quite pleasant, but he's happy to have it out with you on what he thinks proper literature is. I'm sure it honestly sounds a bit dreary. I mean, I always thought literature is a bit dreary, but I'm sure you'll be entertained if you talk to him, if you come over to Moscow.
Oh, I had planned to return to Moscow when the school here is beginning to resume. But I mean, that's only a matter of what is it, a week from now that I'll need to return, and that will certainly ease Babette's mind for me to be there, setting things up, allow her to enjoy more time in the country. You know how my aunt is.
Yes, your aunt. She of the looks around. Yes, I know quite well your aunt. Our family is well, she's good friends with my mother. as my mom is always fierce to point out. No, I know how your dear aunt goes. I do. Frankly, I'm not sure. Why it is you think you owe her so much that you'll have to do all these things for her. From the looks of it, she seems to have her life
Right.
in order, in more ways than one.
It is not like I have other prospects.
Are you looking for prospects? Is that it?
No, I
Slava,
enjoy.
Mhm.
I enjoy. I mean, it's what other prospects are there? I'm the youngest son of the youngest son, and it's not like our families have anything left to give. And certainly, I enjoy teaching.
Hmm. It's well.
It keeps one in books
I was afraid
and
of that.
champagne.
I'm sure.
I refill.
think
I refill your glass.
Yeah, and I think that Natalia will like down it immediately. I'm sure. Well, I'm sure that those are all fascinating prospects for you. But I would have thought being the youngest son would at least dare you to aim a bit higher, live a bit faster. But
Dare me?
yes,
Dare me to do what?
well, I would like to think the next time I see you, you'd have something more interesting to say than school matters.
Oh, well, I could discuss Byron with you, but I've been told that's not appropriate to discuss.
Who said
Especially
that?
not where my students could overhear me.
What's a little poetry going to do against them? Did you know I'm marrying a poet? It's fascinating, really.
And there's a chance, perhaps, to travel to Paris within the next year if we can find a time that was agreeable.
I think Paris would do you well. I think it would get you out of this school mindset. It's unbecoming of you, Slava. Honestly, I think like she finished off her champagne. Like
Getting copies of Hugo is certainly not easy in the current environment.
I'm sure that'll be terribly fascinating, but if you do promise we go to Paris, I assure you we'll find something more fascinating to do than tracking down literature.
What would be so fascinating? More fascinating than tracking down? I mean, we could go to one of the museums.
Natalia's making a face. It's like, as like you keep listening to like museums, literature.
I'm giving you a very knowing look. Like I know everything you're hinting at, but I'm just refusing to acknowledge it.
I think that comes bustling up. He's like, Stanislas, chère comtesse, you are monopolizing the time. I have need of your services, my dear friend. The Countess Larissa and the Count and Sofia Viktorovna insist that we play whist, and we need a fourth.
Which one of us are you talking to? I say out loud.
To you. To you, Stas. To you. The Countess Natalia, I'm sure, does not wish to play whist with her mother. Like the rest of us.
I thank you for sparing me the indignity, madam.
I promise to lose.
We can try and win this time, Stanislav Vladimirovich. It's a dreadful game. If we must play it, we should at least win it.
If you insist.
It's expected.
Natasha, and I give you a refill cup of a glass of champagne and just like
Would you tell my cousin that I send with my compliments?
Oh, I'll do my best. And Sava, please pray tell that you do more than just lose these days. At the very
And
least,
I
with my
whisper
mother.
to you,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I whisper to you, see if you can get Vasya to tell you where her fiance is this particular season.
I think like Natalia won't like say anything out loud, but kind of like has this look of like, okay, there's a chance of mischief there, and give you a nod, and let's just say, at the very least, give it a good shot against my mother. She is depressingly good at whisk and could do with being knocked down a few pegs.
Oh, your young man hasn't arrived yet, has he, Countess?
As far as I can see, I'm sure he'll be out and about. I just presume that lateness is.
I just want you to know that what with being in the country and everything, we don't stand on ceremony here. Feel free to dance with him as often as you like. No need to this ridiculous game of mixing partners up like it's dominoes. Just you enjoy the time with your handsome young man. Come, Stas. We have a conquest to achieve.
Of course. Just let me know when I'm supposed to win.
It very much depends upon the cards. Let's go. So, who else do we want to see now? I mean, we got Ilya. We have not yet seen Ilya yet.
Yeah, he definitely needs to show up.
I was wondering, like, maybe around this time, Ilya has like made an entrance, and maybe the first person they run into is Vasya.
I feel like that is exactly how it should happen.
That sounds amazing.
In the background, you just see the mothers all sitting down to the whist table, holding poor Stanislaus hostage.
Oh, poor Stas.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Richard and Kat had to play cards with someone's mother, and probably had like a great time doing it.
It's probably going to go fine. So Ilya arrives and hands his very fashionable European top hat to the footman at the front door. And, sort of glances around the room. He's not super sociable, but he does a lot of observing. So he sort of glances around the room and then makes his way towards wherever the alcohol is being served.
And as a coincidence, Vasya has wandered her way over to the table with the refreshments as well, because I was under the assumption that my cousin was bringing me a glass, but then he never showed up. And so I'm feeling rather parched.
Yes, and obviously when you come walking up, I ask you, can I get you something? We've never met, right? Or have we met?
I think we have met before. I think you probably don't remember me, but I certainly remember you.
Okay, great. Oh, I pardon for making bold, but could I get you a refreshment?
Count Rostov, I had no idea you would be attending our little country fete. Of course, I would be more than happy to take a refreshment with you. And she kind of like bats her eyes coquettishly at you and like leans forward and like kind of, places a hand upon her chest.
He seems not to notice because he doesn't notice, and grabs 2 glasses of something sparkling and light and hands you one of them.
You may not remember, but I was actually at your reading last month at that little art gallery that had that opening. I must say, the poem that you read was just astonishing. I thought your work with metaphor was fantastic. It just completely captured the moment that we were all experiencing together.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you. I wasn't aware that anyone who was anyone had attended that reading. I mostly think that people don't notice the things that I'm doing if I'm not standing around and looking proper.
Oh no, I I really do think that you're a rising success, and it's only a matter of time before everyone else sees it too.
I think I'm going to be Russia's Lord Byron. That's flattering. So who are we watching? Who is making a spectacle of themselves this evening?
Well, there's not really much spectacle to be had here. You see, this is just a small gathering that my mother is putting on for the girls of her academy. You see, as you notice, there are a number of students here tonight, and we wanted to give them an opportunity to practice their dancing. Unfortunately, as you can hear, the orchestra is a bit off, so hopefully they don't internalize any of their rather syncopated rhythms.
He chuckles and takes a sip of his drink and says, "Yes, it will be a challenge to dance to this, but I believe that we will make a valiant effort to make the orchestra feel appreciated."
Taking this as an invitation to dance, she says, "Oh, yes, I would very much love to practice a couple of rounds if you are feeling so inclined."
Of course. Have you a card? Dance card?
Oh, I heard my mother say that we should not entertain such formalities tonight. And so if you wish to dance, I happen to be free right now.
Oh, of course. Let me just. And he takes your drink out of your hand and places it on the table and takes your arm and leads you to the dance floor. He's a pretty good dancer, I feel like.
Okay. Well, Vasya is actually an exceptional dancer, very, very well
Excellent.
taught by my mother and her school. So even if you may not feel confident with your steps, she somehow manages to lead by following, like in what she's hoping is a very magical moment.
He seems to be both paying attention to you and paying attention to the whole room. Like he's kind of here and there, you know. Whether or not you notice that is up to you. But he's constantly observing everything. So yeah.
As far as Vasya is concerned, you are just completely like wrapped up in this moment that she's wrapped up in as well. And in fact, like all of the conversation that she's just trying to have with you throughout the dance is literally just like, so tell me, where do you get the ideas for your, like very like sophomoric questions about what inspires you? Where do you get the ideas for your poems?
Let's say you've asked him like 3 or 4 questions that are very similar and you finally ask him that one. And he says, and this is going to suck because it's just going to make you fall more in love with him. And he says, "Do you feel the fabric at the small of your back?"
The color just rises in her face, but she just like the most imperceptible.
"What about the soft glide of your hair on the side of your face? And when you feel those things and you look around the room, what jumps out at you first? Is it the woman in the pink hat? Maybe that very precarious tower of champagne? The inspiration for poetry is not some magical thing. It's every day. It's the things that we see when we're living our lives. Inspiration isn't divine. It's not handed to us by some sort of strange concoction. It's the experience of living your life."
She comes to like a literal stop on the dance floor and just gazes up at you, and then just breathlessly says, "Excuse me," and then just completely dashes away. Because yes, she just hypnotized.
He sort of bows to your retreating back and then wanders off the dance floor and goes back to get his glass of champagne. And then kind of looks around trying to figure out who to talk to about what just happened to him.
I'm not going to lie. That was everything I wanted that to be.
Great.
Okay, what do we need to do next? Do we want to see some of the moms? Do we want to see Natalia and Ilya?
I'd love to see Natalia and Ilya, but I don't want to
I feel like I want to hand him off to somebody who just saw that happen. Like I want to move around the room with like how awkward that was, and then hand it off to another person and another person and see the same way that a ballroom scene might go.
I mean, your mom or your engaged to be engaged person are probably the two best candidates for that.
I think Natasha could have seen that because she was gonna do what Slav was asked her to do, and was gonna give champagne to Vasya.
Oh yeah. Okay, so let's say I kind of wander my way off the dance floor and walk right into you. Like I grab my champagne off the thing, turn around, and you're there.
Yeah, I'm holding a glass of champagne, and it's gonna say, Count Rostov, down the whole champagne. That was meant to be like put it away.
He gives you like he takes your hand, bows over it,
and
says, Natalia.
I see the details of your dancing ability have not been greatly exaggerated. I'd very much like to experience that myself. Would you kindly?
Of course. And he puts down his drink and takes your arm and leads you onto the dance floor. I don't understand what just happened the last time I danced with someone, but hopefully you will not flee in a panic.
You'll find, Ilya, that, well, panic comes rarely to me, although I would not be against you trying to make me flee, that is. Unless, of course, that makes you feel uncomfortable having women flee from you.
It does make one feel rather like a beast stalking the night.
I'm sure we can rectify that. I'll make sure to not flee from whatever prowess you're about to demonstrate.
I promise to make at least one mistake, so that I do not seem so perfect as to drive you from the room in terror.
But now that just seems so polite that it might as well be under the sign of perfection. Truly, I think the thing she was about to say is like, how the hell did my mom find you? But she stops herself.
Well, of course, if anything seems too good to be true, it usually is.
Is that a warning?
Well, I think all women should enter any situation where they are conspicuously within the arms of a man well worn, don't you?
Well, it depends on the man, I suppose. I mean, if anyone who doesn't know us only by reputation would see a romantic poet and a woman who have been described in some terms as terribly dissolute and highly immoral, I don't know if either of us would be warned against each other. Most likely to be warning themselves against us.
Are you immoral?
I'm not here to pass judgment on what society says. They can say whatever they want.
Well, I'm just wondering whether the things that they're leveling at you are as true as the things they're leveling at me. I am a poet, and I am all of the things that they associate with poets. Mostly late.
Well, I wouldn't call lateness anything more than something mild to look out for. What they say about me, well, like I said, I'm not here to confirm what it is people say about me. I'd rather let people figure that out. Unless it's being incredibly unhelpful to you, Ilya.
No, I don't believe it is. I think one should take things as they seem.
Well, with our limited interaction with each other, how do you think I seem to you so far?
Cold.
Will that be a hindrance in the future?
And he like kind of like leans in while he's dancing with you, and he says, "Why are you suggesting that we have a future?"
I think like Natalia will like whisper back and they say, sorry, I had an idea and then my mind blanked a bit. That's
okay.
That's the lateness getting to me these days. Sorry, I had a thought. Okay.
No,
I
you're
think
right.
Natalia will like whisper back and say, "Sorry, I'm sorry. My mind's like blank there for the moment.
That's
Something to
okay.
do with Vasya. I was trying to bring Vasya back in. What just happened there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I guess that depends on whether I'm on the verge of fleeing and panicking, which like what happened with poor Vasya.
Are you?
Try to make me flee, then. Count Rostov.
I am an inveterate poet, a strange writer. I am deeply disorganized and often smudged with ink. I have 2 very large dogs and a very small room in which I do most of my work. And I'm prone to leaving the country on the spur of the moment and not returning for several months. Oh, and once I fell in love with a tree.
You kind of described Natalia's perfect match. It's like, oh, I don't have to care for him. Great. He can just stay in his room with his dogs and his tree. Love life.
The relationship didn't last. One year I made him into a, well, rather smashing carriage. Love is pain.
It seems you've inflicted and been inflicted your fair share of love then. I do believe I did you the disservice of asking for that, Ilya. I think you can do better. And I'm curious to find out.
And I think at that moment the song winds down
Mhm.
and he sort of steps back and bows over your hand again and says, well, we'll have to see.
Well, I think you'll find that perhaps in the future, what I've asked of you, you won't get so readily from me. And I think like Natalia will like swan away and just like casually take a glass of champagne without looking to search for Vasya.
So where do we want to go next? I kind of feel in my bones that ending with Babette talking to Vasya again would be the right call, but I don't know if there's something in between there.
Would it be good to Vasya interrupt this whist game?
Oh my god, yeah. So we could start with the whist game and then yeah. Yes. So that would be that would also be Daryl and Leandro.
Yeah. So it's Sophia and Larissa in the one team, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Countess Linskaya, I understand that that you and Countess Rostova have have made a most favorable match. One spade.
Yes, I'm actually so pleased, and the Countess has been so kind as to entertain my suggestions about our children being a possible good match. They have been most amenable to the situation, even as my dear Natasha proves to be quite difficult on the subject.
I'll be honest, my dears. I don't know how you broker an aristocratic marriage. I have allowed my daughter to seek any man of good enough birth to marry if she chooses, but that alone is a headache. I don't know how you do in dealing with a title or land and estate.
Yeah, that's all quite terribly complicated. But one finds with some diligence that a suitable arrangement could be made. And forgive me for saying so, but much like Countess Linskaya's dear daughter, my own son is quite a tempest. And, well, if it has been difficult to contain such a tempest, but I hope that one as tempestuous as your daughter could lend to a favorable blend.
Well, children often grow out of their personalities when they're young. After all, I swore I would not spend all my time trying to find matches for my daughters, and yet here I am.
As the Countess says, I do hope that
Really,
Oh.
Stas? Really? Okay. I'm sorry, my dear. What?
I was just going to say that certainly getting a title, land, and estates are certainly not the guarantee that they were 40 years ago,
Well,
all in one combination.
it's hard enough since my husband and I agreed to liberate our people, and that apparently puts us in bad odor in certain parts of Petersburg. But Petersburg is not a. I don't like Petersburg.
Well, with the rebuilding of Moscow and everything, I suppose that we don't need to pay as much attention as what's going on in Petersburg nowadays. 3 hearts.
I have never felt that Moscow is a poor city, even back before. But then, what do I know? After all, here I am chatting away, and I barely spoke Russian until I was 18.
Well, it's not like anyone doesn't speak French.
Fewer people today. Back in the old days. Well, excuse me. I'm nostalgic. It is a failing of the elderly.
Well, it's good that you're practicing several years in advance.
Yes, Stas. As I am, you will be.
It is an affliction that affects those of age sooner than they expect. I assume it'll afflict you as well, young Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov.
Oh,
These children today are in a great hurry to become cynical and jaded. I mean, all right, I was cynical and jaded at their age, but we earned it. There was a revolution and a war.
Oh, but my dear, you know that your parents were cynical and jaded as well, and their parents before them. It is all our inheritance.
Well, perhaps. I don't.
But it just depends on what the people want to be cynical and jaded about this generation.
Yes, well,
I was going to ask, when you had not been cynical and jaded, my dear aunt.
I was very idealistic, I'll have you know, when I was younger.
Yes, but you were very cynical and jaded about it from all the stories you've told me.
But, well, perhaps they're being filtered through my elderly eyes. I thought I was idealistic. I believed in love to the point where I thought I would never get married because I would never find anyone who could love me.
And yet here you are, my dear princess, with a husband somewhere and a gaggle of girls whom you seem to be enriching for the future. Not very cynical of you in practice, now are you?
Well, they're good girls.
You
They're
were
very
still
sweet.
floundering at being cynical and jaded as you once were. I think perhaps you've become less cynical and jaded as you've grown older.
Possibly just the convictions of youth wearing off.
Cynicism, I think, comes from a sense of disappointment. And if that's the case, then I have more than enough disappointment.
The Pa said it came from your strange attachment to Latin poetry.
Well, Latin poetry has a very dear place in my heart.
Well, I'm sure you have. I hope you have little cause for disappointment with your daughter's current match. It seems to be quite favorable to the both of you, to the both parties.
Well, perhaps.
He is rather, well,
I find myself torn as many women before me have been, in that, on the one hand, a long courtship is better so that the two parties may learn if they truly are fit to marry. But on the other hand, if something is not done soon, Vasya will run wild and untrammeled through the barley, like some maiden out of ancient myth, and heavens knows what will become of her.
Is that
Take
cue
the
for?
advice from...
Yeah, I think that's cue for Vasya.
That is cue for it, but I just want to say the line, take it from someone who's been there before, darling. Make sure that you get the ring on them quickly, because it's all downhill from there. And then that's the point where Vasya will just flounce in.
Oh. Throws out a trick. I'm so sorry. Larissa, no need to worry about it. But I don't like to keep IOUs around very long. So just come by tomorrow and pay me. And I chase after Vaza.
Okay, so to completely change the energy of that scene, I have stolen away into one of the sitting rooms in this small estate, and you come in and you just see me like giddy, schoolgirlish, like twirling around, like pretending to waltz with like an invisible suitor. Every bit the the starstruck ingenue, and just giggling to myself.
Vasyanchik, what are you doing?
Oh, Mother, I know that we have had a difference of opinion about whom it is that I should marry. I would once again entreat you. I think... Oh, please don't judge me too harshly, but if I could suggest someone else.
Someone else? You have formed an attachment with someone else and not told me?
Certainly not. No, of course not. I would never do anything so reproachable, Mother. But I just... I feel so strongly for someone who is not this man that I am supposed to marry.
There, chick. You are young. One should not fall in love immediately after one dance. One should do the decent thing and nurse them back to health.
Mother, we cannot all find our husbands in a war zone.
It is better that is true, yes.
Can it not be simple enough that I found him on the battlegrounds of the written word? He is a poet. He is a poet of eventual renown.
How many poets
Yes,
did we invite to this silly affair?
Only one of any kind of importance, and it was the one that I shared a dance with. And he told me the most charming things, and he spoke so keenly of the human existence and what it takes to write beautiful words. Mother, I was swept away.
You can't possibly mean Ilya Ilyich.
And what if I do? Why do you say his name such?
Vasya! He's practically engaged to Natalia Sviatoslavna.
Practically engaged is not actually engaged. And also, you've met Natasha. She's Natasha.
They have an attachment. People know about it.
But Mother, please, I can't imagine, like, to feel such a feeling within me. You have described it before. You have made me read poetry about it before, and yet here it is before me, and you ask me to deny myself?
Vasya, you've just fallen for a poet. I had a thing for Coleridge when I was your age. It goes away.
What if I am not so eager to throw away my dreams, Mother? What if I do not want to just marry some man whom you have put before me?
I didn't put him before you. You met at a party. You said he was nice.
A man can be nice. Then that does not mean I
he
must
could
marry
write
him.
You. You told him he could write you. You know what that means.
My friends write me letters all the time. It is not... I did not know that to simply invite someone to post a letter to me that I would be signing my marriage warrant.
I'm sorry. I do not know how I have become so old-fashioned. But Vasya, it's so difficult to recover from things. You can't understand how difficult it was for me to enter society when I came back to Russia. And that was no fault of mine. It was the fault of my parents.
Mother, I already have a place in society. We already moved through it. There is room and space and time for these things. I'm only asking for more time for the things that I really truly want.
Our position is not as secure as you might think, my dear. Why do you think your father is running around the empire?
Father has always been in pursuit of his noble works. You've always said so. What do you mean? Why do you say it like that? Is there something that I should know?
I don't want to talk too much about it. Your father has not always been in good favor with Tsar Nicholas. More than that, I will not say, because it would cause ill fortune, and it is already difficult enough for you.
Mother, if there is some obstacle that I must overcome, then you must speak of it.
There's no obstacle, provided your father continues to do as he is told, and you do not attract more scandal to the family.
If you do not wish for more scandal, then please do not put me in a position where I must choose between my heart and my name.
I just don't want you to throw away someone who could be a very good match for you simply because you met a poet. This is not some silly French novel, Vasik. You have to be very careful now. This is a dangerous period for you. I understand. It's not easy being alone and young, and to not. I had a different problem than you. I thought I had to contemplate a life where no one would be interested in me, but I will not forbid you from speaking to Ilya Ilyich. Not that it would matter, you would do it anyway. But please be decorous. He's probably going to marry the Countess Natalia, and that's it. I don't want you to break your heart over this, but I also don't want you to have a horrible loveless match. My brother had one of those. I don't want that fate for you either, Vaskik. Can you not believe that your mother has your best interests at her heart, even if she is not always good at expressing them?
Vasya crosses the room and takes your hand in hers and says, Mother, I know that you have only ever meant me what is best for me. I have never doubted that for a moment. But please believe me when I say that you have raised a woman who is confident in what she wants and who knows how to protect herself. My heart will not be broken. My heart is made of sterner stuff, I promise. And I appreciate that you are giving me the time that I need to figure my own things out. And of course, I promise and I promise again that I shall not do anything that would bring any kind of smear upon you or upon Father. But please do not hold me to the same things that you had to go through or that Uncle Boris had to go through. I know that things are different now, and I just want you to know that it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
I don't want you speaking to him without either me or Lydia Vladimirovna in the area. All right? We cannot. I do not want to start off our Christmas holidays in the country by creating a scandal that will live in the county for a decade.
I promise, Mother, that all introductions and all meetings shall be strictly chaperoned and strictly scheduled so that we will remain above any country gossip's gaze.
I will hold you to that promise, Sinyechka.
She just smiles like the biggest, most heartfelt smile at you and then embraces you and then says, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I understand I understand your grandmother so much better nowadays.
May I go dance again? I know that the ball is soon to be concluded, but perhaps just one more round.
Yes, but make sure that some of the girls are also finding a partner.
Of course. We must make sure that Ludmila does not stand by herself in the corner anymore. We will get her out on that dance floor.
You know, I think she needs glasses. That's the best explanation I have for that right now.
Let's get that set up when we get back to Moscow.
Oh, she'll never wear them. She's so vain.
I know.
Go, 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 before I get dragged into another card game.
That's it. Thank you, Mother. And then she gives a pat on the cheek and dashes out, giggling again.
I think the last scene is just Babette standing by the window wringing a handkerchief. Does that feel like the chapter to folks? Reputation. I picked up a negative tag.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I did or not.
Pretty sure giving in to Vasya earned me indulgent as a tag.
Yeah, I think so too.
I might have gotten a positive actually. I danced with my fiance and didn't cause too much a ruckus. Ugh.
Plenty
Yeah,
of
I
time
might
to
have
make
earned a
up.
positive one because I danced with my engaged to be engaged. Haven't put a ring on it, but
I
you
mean,
know.
you can pick up one of each. So
You did do both.
I took Oblivious.
Ooh.
One I've definitely cultivated.
I feel like I picked up Determined, but in the negative context.
yeah,
I'm gonna take one of each, honestly, because I did dance with two different ladies, and one of them basically died.
And the other one was like, "Oh, this is your attempt to kill me. Come on, you can do better. Come on."
Bring it on.
To be honest, he didn't try that hard with her.
Yeah,
He
I
was
know.
just
Yeah,
kinda
he's a
like,
bit disappointed.
I don't
by that.
know.
Like, come on.
Stuff.
Yeah. Already fell
He
in love
doesn't
with the
like being dared to do things,
tree.
but he got really annoyed that she kept asking him really boring questions. Like desirable and mercurial.
I mean, that's like the resume of every character you've ever played in one of these.
I know. It's annoying, really.
But we were so cute last time.
We were really cute. Like
We were really, really cute.
We were really cute.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Hot and a little crazy. That's my whole vibe.
Vera was like the first character I've ever played that was just like, she's just ordinary. She wasn't an intellectual. She wasn't an artist. She was just a love-struck girl with some bad cards.
I liked that about her.
Yeah. It was fun to play someone that I like nothing else. That was it. That was like my character.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, guess it's time to take the plunge here. Rumor and scandal. Remember, we each get to do two things. If you want, we'll do this formally. We'll go around the table, or you can just grab stuff if you have ideas. I don't care. It's very informal in these parts, but you know, I see plenty of people grabbing rows there, so I'm assuming people have ideas.
I'm gonna put
And a tree.
and a tree. He really loved that tree. And it got root rot, you know.
Tragic.
Oh.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
Natasha.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Natasha.
Gonna actually I'm gonna share this into the video so we can see it maybe. Oh wait, did I turn it off?
Let's see.
I mean, I feel like we should definitely read them out loud.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So we have one for everybody. We don't have one for Stas. Let's.
It's good. I like people that I like that there's a Babette rumor already because it's good.
Oh yeah, no, that
it's not completely correct, but I'm gonna spread it anyway.
Yeah.
excellent. Love that for you.
I mean, of course she's living above her means. She's a 19th century Russian aristocrat. They're in debt up to their eyeballs, but everybody is.
Really stereotypical. I'm trying to think of like a rumor that could be spread about Vasya that she's like ill or she did that like very dramatic running away on the dance floor.
It was good.
I love an old time nonsense diagnosis. Hysteria.
I'm gonna spread the Natasha one.
Yeah, I was gonna spread that one. Yeah, good.
I'll do that.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm spreading that Babette
Damn it.
romance. It's got places to go, and
Oh my
the
God.
places it has to go is into every letter.
You beat me to it. I'm gonna
That's
spread
good.
the Vasya one then. I think that's four, and we have
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I'm
6.
going to spread
We're-
the first Vasya one.
All right.
Yeah,
We're actually over now, so let's leave it there because we have 6
Yeah.
rumors and we spread 5 of them. We're not
Oh, because I don't.
supposed
Yeah,
to be
I think I
able
only
to
did that.
I don't know what we did.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll leave it here.
Everything's fine.
We have more than enough rumors.
Mhm.
All right,
Blah, blah,
folks.
blah.
You know the drill. In 19th century Russia, we write letters. We write letters. You can write 2 letters. They can come from a connection, or your main. You can give people resolve tokens to make them use one of their letters to write you. All sorts of fun stuff.
I mean, I have a very obvious letter that I'm going to send. To the Count Ilya Ilyich Rostov from Princess Vasilisa Ivanova Krasnogradskaya Volkova. My dear Count Rostov, thank you so much for attending our little ball the other evening. I hope that it was as enjoyable for you as it was for us. I can't begin to thank you enough for the enlightening words in which you shared about your process when it comes to writing poetry. I would be ever so grateful if I could call upon you at some point to grace us with more information about the ways in which you conduct your art. We shall be in the country for the remainder of the holiday, and if you would be so kind as to call upon my mother and I, perhaps we may even be able to have you read poetry for the girls of our school. It would be truly a wonderful experience for them to see a true artist at work. Please forgive me for my abrupt departure on the dance floor the other night. I had become slightly lightheaded. However, I assure you I am much recovered, and I do hope to entertain you soon and hear more about all of the fascinating things you must be just brimming with. Thank you again for your time and hope to see you soon. Yours sincerely, Princess Vasilisa Ivanovna Krasnogradskaya Volkova.
I'm kind of in conjunction to that. I think the wrong page. What's my name again? The Countess Larissa is going to write a letter to her son. Ilyusha.
Oh God.
By now, I hope you have become thoroughly acquainted with Countess Natalia Sviatoslavovna. Why did I choose that? Lenskaya. Her mother, despite what you may hear, her mother assures me that deep down Natasha is a passionate girl and would be a match for your own passions. Now, setting that aside, it has taken quite a bit of effort to find a match for yourself, and I would very much like for this to go through. So, in the near future, I would advise that you recuse yourself from any possible entanglements with any other women of your fiance's age. I would like you to focus on getting to know her, and I would like, upon our next meeting, a thorough discussion on about your marriage. If I find that there's any hint of disparate passions running amok, dear Ilyusha, you'll find that there will be little room for in the future for your little pursuits, one would say. You'll find that whatever poetry you'll be writing, you'll be reading mostly to your dogs rather than to anyone else. Yours, your mother.
To the Countess Lenskaya, Senior, from Princess Elizaveta Nikolaevna. Cher Sophie, it was so charming to spend time with you at our recent party. And of course, I would greatly enjoy having you over for tea. Just a word to the wise, my dear friend. The Count Ilya Ilyich is now invited to our normal visiting day on Thursday. I thought it would be simply charming if you could bring your lovely Natalie, perhaps to play upon the piano, which is quite excellent here, I should point out, and display those charms to which she is so greatly endowed. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Regards, Babette.
This is a nice corner I'm backed into. I'm gonna hoist myself by my petard here. To the Princess Vasilisa Ivanovna Krasnogradskaya Volkova. Dear Princess, I write to you with a heavy heart and to let you know that my mother has made her intent for my marriage quite clear. And as a result, I have been informed that I am not to dally with any women publicly that are not my mother's intended match for me. This goes very much against the calling of my heart, which is to connect deeply and authentically with everyone that I meet without barriers between us drawn by society or other means. However, it does mean that I must do as my mother bids me and avoid the appearance of indiscretion when in public at social affairs. I apologize if this brings you any discomfort, but this will be the last letter that I can send to you without encroaching upon my mother's decree. I very much enjoyed our conversation and our dance, and I hope that you have recovered from whatever small ailment caused you to flee the dance floor. I, of course, look forward to seeing you again, should we find a way to do so in the future. Yours, earnestly and sincerely, Ilya.
Oh yeah, that will stop her.
I mean, my petard, it's hoisted.
That's a good letter. That's a good letter.
She had to get the fan out, guys.
Gerald, may I give you a resolve
Vasya
token?
probably pulled a fan out as well. What's that?
Gerald, may I give you a resolve token for this letter I'm going to write?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guaranteeing that my discretion, I will be discreet and quiet about the fact that you've asked me to quietly chaperone your visits with someone you want to see that's not your fiance. Is that okay with you?
Yes. Yes. I very happily engage in this subterfuge of many mothers' wishes.
How many mamas will we affect?
It's gonna go really well.
So this comes folded in the pages of not even translated in English for full scandal. What a terrible language. Of Hours of Idleness by Byron. Cousin, you said that you were very interested in practicing your English reading skills and working on your translations. I thought you would enjoy this particular volume. It is straightforward in its vocabulary. though I think you will find the implications to and the metaphors to a challenge to those who to translate into other languages. It's a good practice piece. Uh, and of course, to your request, I am more than happy to visit uh, with you in, well, discrete circumstances and assist you by accompanying you to, I can't think of a place that would be in public but discreet enough for mamas not to comment on, but I'm going to list one of those places. Um, a park in Moscow. Uh, and of course, this need not come up in conversation with your mother. Many outings I make do not come up in conversation with your mother, um, often at her request. Um, yours quietly, your cousin, Stas.
I have a letter. From Countess Sofia Viktorovna Lenskaya to her daughter, Countess Natalia Svyatoslavovna. Why did you choose that name, Leandro? Svyatoslavovna Lenskaya. Dearest Natasha, I must say, my dear, I was rather heartened to look up from my whist game to see you spinning around the dance floor with the young Count Rostov. I know that you have been putting up quite a front about your arrangement with him, and I am very happy to see that it appears the ice is thawing. I knew that if only you spent a bit more time with the Count, that you would understand that he is indeed a wonderful match for you. I would like you to know that as we will be staying for the next few weeks in this idyllic country vista that we are now calling home, that we shall be spending a bit more time with the Count, as well as the Princesses Volokova, while we will be attending their social days. Of course, this is not something that I expect you to make any attempt to get out of or find some alternate arrangement or simply swear off as something to do that is entirely beneath you. I, of course, am hoping that your recent change of heart and opening up to the Count's affections shall make this a easy and enjoyable way to pass an afternoon. And of course, that is, after all, just one day out of the week. I do, of course, afford you plenty of freedom to do what you like on any other day of the week, as I am sure that your future husband will as well. Please make sure to avail yourself at the earliest convenience. We shall share a coach. And all my love, and yes, try to wear something bright. Your mother.
Yeah, I have a letter because I just feel like I just want to get myself into as much trouble as humanly possible while still looking like Lord Byron on steroids. To the Princess Yelizaveta Nikolaevna Volkova. Dear Princess, I want to thank you deeply for including me in your small soiree the other day. As my mother often tells me, it is good for me to be out in company, and I managed to even have a few conversations, which made her very happy. She quite enjoyed her game at the tables with you and wanted to find out if we could spend some more time together as we are all here in the country over the next few months. I am including in here a small volume of French histories, which I think might be to your interest. I acquired them during my recent travels to Paris and understand that you possess a great love of French literature and art, and want to extend this as a gift for your hospitality the other evening and for the hospitality that you have given to my mother and my family. I remain your servant. Anything that I can do for you in the next few months while we are all in the country, I will gladly be of service. Yours truly and sincerely, Count Ilya Ilyich Rostov. What did you say? You were muted.
You're the worst.
I am. I'm the worst. I am.
You are.
I know.
You are Lord Creep.
I'm a sweet boy.
Yeah. Did we get a Leandro letter yet?
Wrote one as
Okay.
Larissa, basically telling my
That's right.
son.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Basically making it so that, of course, I will flirt harder.
To the Prince Ivan Petrovich Krasnogradsky, Mon cher Mary, I hope that this letter finds you. I had thought you were still in Ostrakhan, but the coat I sent you did not reach you there. I was forced to go to General Vladimir Vladimirovich's house to try and find some address to send to you. There are rumors you've gone to Tbilisi and onto Omsk. Find it so ironic, given how close we both came to taking permanent residence there, that you should be headed to Siberia. But I hope this finds you. The estate is good. The girls are behaving themselves, and all their tuition has been paid for once. So that worry has been pushed off for a little bit longer. I desperately miss you, but I understand that we must all, in our own ways, pay for our perceptions, even if they are not truly founded. But of course, I know that better than any, I suppose. I don't know what to do about Lise, our little Sunyechka. She is as impetuous as her Uncle Andre, and as strong-willed as her grandmother. I grow more appreciative of the Princess Yekaterina every day, but at the same token, I remember myself when I was young and on the verge of spinsterhood, and how much I resented Mother. How much must Vasilisa resent me? But how am I supposed to sit back and watch someone that I love so deeply wander into such great peril without saying anything, or to facilitate things that would be viewed as improper when we have so little room to maneuver, my dear Louis? So little room. I think back on all the mistakes of my youth and how many things I could have stopped with a word. But there were things that I wanted to happen until disaster came. But I'm rehearsing a tale that I've told you too many times. Sunyechka has decided that she is not particularly in love with Sergei Karavasov, which is not the impression that we both gathered last summer during the brief period of time you were on leave. And now she has fallen for a poet, which I don't have to tell you, Louis, is always dangerous. So I fondly remember your little verses that I read surreptitiously when we were both younger. I don't know what to do with her. I don't know what I am doing. I don't know who I've become. I wish you were here to tell me who I was again. In any case, my love goes out to you wherever it is you are. And the coat, too, eventually, I hope. Please write me as soon as you can and give me an address to write you back. I love you dearly. Your Babette.
You stop it. Like legit tearing up. It's fine.
I think Natasha's gonna write to Stas. And I think I should go into it. Slava, I don't really have anyone, at least of note, to write to confide in about these sort of things. So I suppose I'll just impose myself onto you, because I trust you to at least be honest with me. Have I become boring? Have I become predictable? I thought that seeing you again, I could perhaps lift you back to the great heights I knew, but instead I seem to have sunk into the provincial torpor that you currently cling to. And this marriage I thought would be a cover, instead turning to a noose. Suddenly people have expectations. They can plot out my future in detail. I saw your cousin Vasya run off in a fit of girlish passion away from my intended. And, well, I don't know what happened between the two of us, but I was not inclined to do the same. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I believe I would rather, instead of fleeing away from him, would deposit him in some sort of pit where he would no longer bother me with his inanities. I mean, of course, he's a poet; he's full of inanities. That they're full of that. They speak of truth, but really, it's their truth. And, well, I guess I'll be subjected to that. I'm at a bit of a loss, Slava. I thought maybe perhaps I could pull an Aunt Sveta and just run off into some wild other corner of the world with another woman, but people would rightly see that as just a diminished copy of the first act, and I'd rather not do that. Is it? I'd ask if it was worth it to wind down, but I think I know what your answer will be. In fact, I'm not even sure if I'm looking for any answers from you. I just wanted to unleash this upon someone else. Now, of course, if you breathe this to anyone else, well, I may be diminished, but I still have something worth to unleash, I think. Oh God, I can't believe I just shared that with you. Oh, do with it what you will. And it's a very annoyed, Natasha just signature at the end.
The second letter is going to Vasya as well, but this time as her fiance. Dearest Vasya, I am delighted to learn that your holidays in the country were eventful and pleasant. And that you had so many engaging conversations with so many people, so many of the artists and aspiring artists that your mother cultivates as a society, and that as well as so many reputable women in the country. I regret that my father has informed me that I will be traveling abroad beginning this June as part of expanding our family's business. 2 paragraphs of details about ore and smelting and foundries, followed by 3 paragraphs of why this is financially important. I have enclosed the relevant clippings, which I am sure you will find as fascinating as I do. But to a more appropriate point, my father has said that we should move to resolve our engagement the second Sunday of Easter, or perhaps the following week if a priest will not agree. You know, my father is not particularly devout, though he is very traditional in insisting that we have a formal church wedding in Russia. So that my travels can double as our honeymoon, which he has agreed to fund. It will include Florence, and then a bunch of very boring cities that I'm not going to try to formulate a list of. And then, of course, a chance to return through Turkey, and then several very, very dull cities in Turkey, not including Istanbul. He has guaranteed me that we will have second-class accommodations.
Please stop
Well,
for the love of
perfect.
God. Oh, no, go on. Go on.
And that you may enjoy the shops and hotels of these great European destinations at our company's expense. With, of course, only a small contribution from your family, which I'm sure our fathers will discuss in appropriate time. I know this is a faster arrangement than we had previously discussed, and it was, I guarantee you, not my idea, but I do see my father's point of view and do think that cementing the arrangement between our families is to the benefit of everyone and is only practical and pragmatic. I do believe that someone as devout as your father would appreciate me wishing you a holy Lent. I know that we will not be seeing each other as much once the Great Lent begins. But I hope that arrangements can be made for us to have an official visitation before then, and we can work these details out in a way that benefits all parties. Yours, with love and sincerity, Sergei.
Do you want to have a Dark Daryl turn? Because this is how we get Dark Daryl turns.
It's the most professional love letter Daryl's ever read.
That is.
I was going to need you to sign here, initial here, sign here.
That is Nixon writing Pat letters signed Mr. Nixon.
I can't decide if it probably took Vasya multiple attempts to get through that letter, or if she read it out loud in increasing pitch and timbre until the entire household heard.
I think both are
both. I think she started reading it alone in her room and then came running into the library already at like a middle C.
I feel like she's already gotten halfway through the letter 4 times by the time she decides to enter the library.
Yeah.
Does that seem correct?
I'm sure these are words. I hate all of them. Oh, that was everybody.
Yeah, no, I think we've all gone twice now.
When do we need to clear out our monologue tokens?
In upkeep. So if you want to do monologues now, we got time for that. Sure.
No.
I mean, we could do some monologues here.
I will hand a monologue token to Babette for her reaction to her daughter's shrieking recitation of this letter.
Babette just is like sitting in the parlor listening to this, like a book of Greek poetry open on her lap and in her notebook next to her where she's making translations. I am not just for the spectacle you're making of yourself, but what is that letter? Oh God, what is happening? How? But he wasn't like this in the summer. Some men get shy when the prospect of getting engaged happens. I know that. Then they think they have to prove themselves. Maybe, oh God. Maybe I could marry him to Svetka. She's always been bookish. So this is your choice, girl. You can have a scandalous affair with a poet, or marry a solid civil servant with a good industrial portfolio. Oh God. At least my mother only wanted them to know how to dance, and half of them couldn't even do that. Waltzes are in 3. Deadens the soul. What am I going to do? And she buries her head back in her book and like does everything short of like covering up her ears. You know what? Turnabout is fair play, Serafina. I want to know what you really felt when you received your little perfumed letter from Vasya. I know what you wrote. I know you wrote what you wrote, but
Yeah.
monologue.
Fair question. Ilya has a bad habit. And the bad habit is of saying exactly what he's thinking all the time. And the other, well, 2 bad habits. And the other one is he burns almost every letter he receives because he's had a few admirers in the past, and he doesn't particularly want to get hung up on people who become passionately obsessed with him for the way he seems in poetry. Because really, he's just making observations. That's how he's. So we see him open the letter, and while reading it, he thinks to himself, this is another one who has fallen for me in some grandiose way after I said the most basic human things about the way I see the world or the things I do. He's standing next to the fireplace, and he drops the envelope in. There is something about her. She's so sweet. She's not like the women that I met in the city who wanted to add an artist to their repertoire. And, you know, the whole thing is very moody, just the firelight lighting him. The rest of the room is dark. He's leaning one arm on the banister or on the mantelpiece, and he holds the letter out as he finishes the last couple of words, and he folds it and moves it towards the heat, and then he slides it into his pocket.
Is there any more business? Anybody can be ridiculous with their monologue tokens. Well then, let's just call it there, and we'll pick this up again next week with a brand new novel chapter. This was lovely, guys. I love these characters. But having Daryl, the reversal of our mother-daughter relationship is everything I wanted it to be. And I'm looking forward to next week. This is great. We're gonna do another.
It's gonna be really good,
and
I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So well, good night, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Well, sorry, I'm trying to think of names that don't immediately reference people because like I don't have the full Russian cinematic universe in my head.
That's all you did was walk into a room and people are like, that dude gets down. It's the beard.
Stas is the teacher who fucks.
Stas is the teacher. Fucks.
Yeah, I was going through Tidal one day and they had a Leonard Bernstein album, and the picture they used for the cover, I'm like, that's the Lenny who fucks. You know, Lenny fucked. Including Aaron Copland. In any case,
rumors.
I don't, but I'm a weirdo, so. But for this game, we need them.
Oh, I just mean generally, I love rumors.
Stop.
I like, in my spare time, talking shit and playing with my dog. Those are the things I like to do. Which right now he looks like a little angel on my shoulder. I think we're doing it exactly right, because if we say it out loud, there's a good chance that I can make Leandro pass out.
Hey, that's the origin story of the blooper reel, so you know.
It was a good day.
Yeah, it was a good day.
It's not really passing out if you announce you're about to lie down, though.
I mean,
It's a preemptive passing out.
Leandro, I mean, legit, the full power of Seraphina's sapphic charms is truly something sight to behold.
I pity the fool.
Devastating.
He says devastating.
Welcome to the blooper reel, folks.
It's good.
All right.
It's good.
I'm just saying, somebody's going to have to shoot somebody at some point. The way we're going.
Somebody at some point should probably shoot me. Because I'm a danger to everyone here.
Including the trees.
Including the trees. I loved him a lot. He was great. It's a great carriage, though. By the end of this, I'll be able to spell my own nickname.
Ilya. The apostrophe means that it's not.
It's Ilyusha, my nickname.
So
Yeah.
the apostrophe there is indicating that the L sound is not palatalized. So it's not Ilya, it's Ilya.
Yeah, we will have to do that. Let's do.
Ooh.
I need
Whoa!
I need to hang on a sec. Sorry.
Oh, keep going.
Oh, that's cursed. That was
Wait,
cursed.
That will make the blooper reel. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
I forgot that I'm sharing that